Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. To you, I say Shalom. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the flock of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Lord willing, through the Spirit, this will be a quick one because I just want to bring out a couple of precepts regarding a topic I've been meditating upon, and it's a topic that I've done, plenty of lessons on before, but it's not until later Jake realizes the error of their ways, man. And this is the thing too, man. A lot of people won't realize the truth or change their ways until judgment or death by pain. Or a lot of people won't change their ways until the Lord, removes their spirit or calls back their spirit and they're reborn in the kingdom, man. A lot of people are fully set in their ways to fully trust Esau, Edom, and their system. The system created by Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and these other nations is not for your benefit, Jake. When I say Jake, I'm talking about the sons of Jacob. Jake is short for Jacob, right? Whose name was changed to Israel after he wrestled the angel, man. All right, and the word Israel, Yasharallah, means prince of the power, man. All right, we are princes because we're sons of the king, man. We're sons of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. The Lord really, he loves us like a father will love his children, man. So that means when we go off, he spanks us. But when we do right, he's gonna bless us, man. It's like any father would do their children, man. Any decent father, because there are some wicked fathers out there, man. All right, but it's in the book of Sirach or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 12 and verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Right? Never trust your enemy, man. And who are our enemies? Our enemies are really the heathen. But our main enemy is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. But any nation outside of the nation of Israelites, right? Any nationality, whether it be Moab, so-called Chinese, Ammon, so-called Japanese, Elam, so-called Indian, whatever a nation or nationality you are outside of Israelite are your enemies, right? Because every nation has benefited from the downfall and captivity of our people, man. There's no other nation that said, hey, the way y'all doing the Israelites are wrong. No nation ever rose up and said that because they benefit off the captivity too. And when you keep silence during oppression, you're an accomplice, man. If you see somebody being done wrong, it's like Moses. Moses seen his brothers being done wrong, even though he was on a higher level of the social hierarchy, because he was basically, I believe, grandson of the Pharaoh, adopted grandson of the Pharaoh. Even though he was on a higher level in the society, he seen his brothers being done wrong, and he smote an Egyptian, man. Right, so he didn't stand by idly while his brothers were being oppressed, man. So any nation that's standing by idly is guilty, man. And that's every nation under the sun, man. Right? So our enemies, we are never to trust them, man. And even if they humble themselves and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, man. Right? Because your enemy will always be your enemy, man. All right? It's because when Jake is in captivity, our enemies are blessed, man. Whatever nation has a majority of Jakes in captivity, that would be the greatest nation, man. Because the amount of energy and work Jake could output, man. This is why the kingdom is going to be so glorious too, right? Because not only will Jake be blessed and live forever and never go off again, but, we're going to have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to guide these heathens to do things the right way, man. All right? But nonetheless, the reason I'm bringing this scripture out is because on an old plantation of mine, I haven't worked at this plantation since about damn near 2014 probably, right? So this plantation I used to work at, I used to work for this Edomite and his wife. They own a company where basically it was a pressure washing company, but they clean windows as well. So basically I clean windows and I pressure wash. But the majority of the work I did was basically pressure washing because I think for the majority of the time, every time I worked with, for the majority of the time, I worked with other Jakes, right? So the number of employees would range from, Salaki if I'm rambling, but I'm trying to paint a picture before I go into details. The number of employees always ranged because, in South Florida, snowbirds will move from the colder states and migrate in Florida during the colder months of the year, and when it gets warmer, they move back to their home state. So during the warmer times of the year in Florida, it will be the slow season because there's not as many people here needing work or needing work done to their houses and stuff. So, but throughout the year, it will range from either 5 total employees, or me and 4 other people, to during the busy season, I've seen as much as 15 other employees there, man. But nonetheless, and I worked at this place for about 8-9 years too. So nonetheless, I was really, for the majority of the time, I was really the only SK there. Majority of other people were either sometimes Esau, or sometimes majority of the time is NK, Northern Kingdom. Majority of the time either Ephraim or Simeon, so-called Puerto Ricans or so-called Dominicans. But what I noticed too about a lot of Edomites that worked there, they never lasted, man. Esau will never last because, again, we're pressure washing and cleaning windows, so the majority of the time you're outside. And in that Florida heat, in that Florida sun, man, Esau is out of there, man. Esau is out of there. He's not built to be a worker, man. He's not in captivity. We were basically bred and trained up from a youth. When I say we, I'm talking about you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to work, man. All we know is work, man. This is why a lot of times when Jake get together, one of the topics of conversation, majority of the time is work and captivity, man. Because there's always shit that Jake got to do, man. Because we're in hell, man. But again, nonetheless, Salaki, if I'm rambling, I'm going to paint this picture, I promise. All right, so I worked with this one guy named Tomas, and Tomas was a Simeonite, so-called Dominican, but he spoke very little English. Now, when he first started, me and him always worked together through the Spirit. Our Edomite boss will basically pair us together and send us on jobs through the Spirit. It's through the Spirit because Simeon and Levi are brothers. And also, it was weird too because those other Spanish-speaking people that worked there, but I don't speak Spanish, so it was always weird that he paired him with me. But again, it's through the Spirit. But basically, the reason we were his favorite duo is because we would get shit done correctly and on the first time. He didn't have to come by the job site and double check our work and stuff like that, like he had to do other people. And he didn't have to worry about us stealing or robbing customers or clients or him, because sometimes people were paying cash, and there were some employees there that would take some of the cash from, which is stupid because it's impossible not to get caught doing that. But nonetheless, so he never had to worry, so he was stress free when me and Tomas worked together. So basically, and I haven't worked there since about 2014. I started there about 2005, straight out of high school, or maybe a year or two after high school. I started working there, and I worked there for 8-9 years. So basically, he texted me yesterday saying how Tomas's wife died. I'm gonna go to the message real quick, Lord willing. All right, so this first message up top is from 2022, November 2022. And he says, sorry I was so slow getting back to you. I'm serious. If you want to work, I could sure use you for it to work. I would need to know what days you want to come in, a couple of days ahead of time. Or if you just wanted to do Saturday, we should probably talk. So call me when you have a few minutes. I never called him because, I didn't want to work for him again. Personally, and through the spirit. I'm in the truth now. It's 2022. I'm in the truth. I'm not dealing with that, But the reason he texted me on 2022 is because I was working with another brother on a job site doing plumbing. And he pulled up to do an estimate on cleaning the windows. And me and him chopped it up for a couple minutes. And he was like, yo, if you ever want to work, you can always come back. Things like that. Now, mind you, I stopped working in 2014. So this is 8 years later, and he's still trying to recruit me back into the plantation, man. But I was going with it. Plus, I was working with a brother in the truth. So it was like, nah, I'm not leaving my peace of mind to go be stressed out. You know what I'm saying? So I never responded to him. But then he texted me again yesterday. And he says, hey, Mayak Allah, it's John. I wanted to let you know that Tomas's wife, Mo, died about 2 weeks ago. Right? It says he had a stroke, but I'm thinking he meant she. Because it doesn't make sense the other way around. She had a stroke a few years ago, and this was related to it. I'll text you his number. I hope you're doing well. Frank is back working here. John. Frank was another Ephraimite that worked there that left and always came back. Left and came back. But John always took him back because he appreciated his work. But nonetheless, right? When I seen this guy, John, the Edomite, at the plantation when I was working with the other brother doing plumbing, he was trying to recruit me then. Again, this is 2022. So this is basically the height of the pandemic. The jab is out. Everybody's taking the jab. And he was saying, you could always come back. We have a warehouse now. You don't have to come. Nobody goes to the house anymore. We have a warehouse now. All you have to do is take the jab and we work at the warehouse. Basically, come back, and you can see the warehouse. Basically, he was saying, in order for me to work for him again, I'd have to take the jab. Now, that's never happening. The Wadi Abba Shimi Al-Shai, But now he texted me 2 years later, or a year and a half later, saying, one of his employees' wife died from a stroke. Now, a lot of people have been catching the big C, which is basically the same as the zodiac sign called Cancer. A lot of people have been catching the big C, and a lot of people have been catching strokes ever since the jab came out, man. And Lord willing, this video doesn't get struck, man. But I'm trying to be wise with my words. But now, if this man took it, if the man took it, because he was working with John this whole time, if he took it, then there's a chance that his wife took it too. And now he lost his wife because he trusted his enemy. He trusted Esau, Edom, and basically the heathens, man. But this heathens and Esau, Edom's sole purpose is to overthrow us and leave us overthrown, man. Psalms 83 and 2. Psalms 83 and 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, look, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. All right? The enemies make a tumult. They made a deal, an agreement, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Now they're getting proudful, man. They're full of pride now, man. First, let me go into this word tumult in a dictionary. I want to make sure I'm saying it right and defining it right. Tumult. Violent and noisy commotion or disturbance of a crowd or mob, uproar, a general outbreak, riot, uprising, or other disorder, highly distressing agitation of mind or feeling, turbulent mental or emotional disturbance. Right? They're basically uprising. Now, I need to make a tumult. They that hate thee have lifted up the head, man. And they came up with a plan to destroy and overthrow us, man. Because when we're overthrown, they can remain in rulership, man. But when they're in rulership, the earth mourneth, creation groaneth, right? Everything is out of course, man. The whole foundation of the earth are out of course. Psalms 82, all right? Verse 4, Psalms 83 and 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's why when you tell people, yo, you're an Israelite, you're a prince of the power, man. Nah. Or they'll say, I know, and keep it moving, but still act like a so-called African American, still act like a heathen, still act like a Gentile, man. But truly, they are Israelites. But the name of Israel is no more in remembrance, because the heathen, starting and mainly with Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, have removed us from our history, have removed us from our power, have removed us from our culture, man. So we can remain in this state of mind as a slave, man, and not complain about it. This is why you don't see Jake, constantly protesting. When they protest, it's for some folly, man. They never protest for the name of the Lord, man. They never protest, to keep the high holy days. They never protest to keep the Sabbath, man. They only protest for wickedness, man. Black Lives Matter. You're protesting for 3 dykes, man. 3 lesbian women that run an organization, and this is what you want to identify with. To identify with the term black, which goes into darkness, man. This is because there's no light in you, man. The light is gone from our people, man. From the majority of our people. With the Wadi Abba Shimi Al-Shai, he left a remnant for us, man. And we could lean on and take guidance from, man. Because 9 times out of 10, if you walked into any random place and pulled 100 random people, if you follow that person, 9 times out of 10, they will lead you to destruction, man. This is how rare and few men of the Lord are, man. This is how precious men of the Lord are, too. Right? The thing that gives something its value is its scarcity. If the men of the Lord were everywhere, there wouldn't be... If there are billions of people on the highways and byways preaching, it wouldn't be as valuable, man. But since you got a select few in the majority of cities across, of the majority of major cities across the 4 corners of the earth, man, it's a very valuable and powerful thing, man. Psalms 83:5, for they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Salah, right? All these nations are listed as being an enemy of the Lord, one, and being also confederate with one consent, with one accord, under one accord, to destroy the nation of Israel and remove Israel from remembrance, man. That's why when you read Judith, when I believe it was Esau and Moab, they were warning Holofernes, the captain of the army that was trying to destroy Jake. They were warning him, saying, yo, or they were telling him, like, yo, go up the main way and we'll circle around back so we could destroy these people, man. They all joined in under one consent to try to destroy Jake, man. But the Wadi Abba Shimi Al-Shai, man, he guided us out of that, right? Let me, real quick, I think it's Judith 8. No. I'm gonna go Judith, I'm gonna put Moab. Slovakia. Judah 7 and 8. Then came unto him all the chief of the children of Esau, the so-called white man, and all the governors of the people of Moab, the so-called Chinese, and the captains of the sea coast, and said, let our Lord now hear a word, that there be not an overthrow in thine army. Right. They're talking to Holofernes, saying, listen to us so that, your army doesn't get defeated. Basically try to give him advice. Verse 10, for this people of the children of Israel do not trust in their spears, but in the height of the mountains wherein they dwell, because it is not easy to come up to the tops of their mountains. Now therefore, my Lord, fight not against them in battle array, and there shall not be so much as one man of thy people perish. Right? He's basically saying, don't fight the fight they want you to fight, because they're using the terrain, the land, to their advantage. Right? So if you listen to us, and not one man of your army is going to perish in battle, man. Verse 12, remain in thy camp and keep all the men of thine army, and let thy servants get into their hands the fountains of water, which issueth forth of the foot of the mountain. Salakia, I think I misspoke earlier. Their plan wasn't to surround basically Jake. Their plan was to basically cut off the water supply and basically thirst them out. Verse 13, for all the inhabitants of Bethulia have their water thence. So shall thirst kill them, and they shall give up their city, and we and our people shall go up to the tops of the mountains that are near, and will camp upon them to watch that none go out the city. Right, basically they're going to watch basically the exits. And this is the same thing Esau did, back in ancient Israel too. Not ancient Israel, but basically when we left captivity from Pharaoh too, man. Right? They try to block our passage, man. They refuse us to pass through, man. They don't want to see us win. They hate to see us win. These are our mortal enemies, man. So when you go trusting these people and they bite you in the ass, you got nobody to blame but yourself, man. All right? Let me I'm reading verse 14, Judah 7 and 14. So they and their wives and their children shall be consumed with fire before the sword come against them. They shall be overthrown in the streets where they dwell. Thus shalt thou render them an evil reward, because they rebelled and met not thy person peaceably. And these words pleased Holofernes and all his servants, and he appointed to do as they had spoken. Right. Again, the heathen nations came together under one consent to try to overthrow us and defeat us. The same thing that happened, and it's going to happen again. Same thing that happened with the jab, man. A lot of our people took the jab because they trusted their enemies, man. Oh, look, this guy took it and nothing happened to him. Let me take it too. Now realizing you and the other guy have nothing to do with each other. You and the other guy might be Edomite, so he's not under the curses that you are. So anything that he does, you're not going to be able to get away with, man. And even if you do get away with it, doesn't mean you got away with it. The Lord is just prolonging your judgment, man. All right? Sometimes I knew this lady. It's lucky again. I'm about to go into a story. I knew this lady, and she wasn't a cop, but I think she worked in a jail. I don't remember. This was years ago. But she had basically a police uniform. And what she would do was, after work, she still had a uniform on, she would go into Goodwills and steal from Goodwills. Now, the first time she did it, they caught her, but they didn't say nothing. And they let her keep doing it so they could build up a case against her and bring the hammer down. The Lord does the same thing. Just because, you know what? Let me get that in the book of Ecclesiastes. Just because you're not judged instantly doesn't mean you got away with it, man. Ecclesiastes 8 and 11. Because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, therefore the heart of the sons of men is fully set in them to do evil. Right? She got away with it once. And a lot of times too, especially so-called white people, Esau, but this lady might be an Edomite, I ain't gonna lie to you. But nonetheless, this lady on you, Salakia, this lady on you, she may be Esau, she may be a Jake, but nonetheless, a lot of so-called white people, they don't steal out of necessity. They steal out of boredom, and they just like the thrill of shit sometimes, right? They're bored. They want a thrill. They want an adrenaline rush, right? They don't want to do drugs. So what they do is they go places and steal, right? And it's in their nature to steal. They're encoded to take what doesn't belong to them. It's hardwired into them. And so this is why a lot of times, you go to these department stores, these big box stores, it'd be Esau stealing the most. But when Jake get caught, it's made a public display. So now the perception is that Jake are thieves. But Jake steal out of necessity. Esau steal just for the fuck of it, man. But nonetheless, this lady, this woman, this bitch was stealing from Goodwill, thinking she was getting away with it, but they were just building the case against her this whole time. The Lord does the same thing, man. Ecclesiastes 8:12, though a sinner do evil 100 times, and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Lord, which fear before him. Right? If you fear the Lord, you're not going to be doing evil and wickedness like that, man. Or you're not going to be doing evil and wickedness intentionally, right? Yeah, there's going to be some times you eat pork in the flesh, man. It's not because you intentionally eat it. You know, Jake will go out their way to try to not eat pork, man. There's sometimes, you know, there's an Italian restaurant near my house that make a nice baked ziti. Sometimes I add the meat sauce. But, you know, before I add the meat sauce, you got to call them and be like, yo, what kind of meat is it? Is it, you know, don't give them the option to say, is it beef or pork? Just ask what kind of meat is it so they could tell you. And then they'll say, oh, it's beef. Okay, so let me get some meat sauce too. And you always got to ask too. Not every single time. But you got to ask periodically, because sometimes restaurants change their ingredients and their recipes. Sometimes they'll change their meats too to save money. Right? Because pork is relatively cheap compared to beef, man. Especially if you're buying it in bulk. But so there may be a time where I don't ask and they switch it and I eat pork and I don't realize it, man. But I'm not doing it intentionally, man. But you know, if I go out of if I ask, is it what kind of meat is it, and they say pork, yeah, let me get some of that. Then I'm being wicked. Then I deserve to be destroyed, man. Even though I still deserve to be destroyed, I'm just basically going off the Lord's mercy as of now, man. It's of the Lord's mercy I'm still alive at the end of the day. It's of the Lord's mercy I'm able to breathe. But if I'm out there intentionally eating and consuming swine, knowing that the Lord destroys people pursuant to Isaiah 66, that eats swine, eats pork, man, then I'm basically asking for evil to happen to me, man. Man, you know, I've been talking so much, I really lost the train of thought. My train of thought and the point of my story, Salakia. But let me jump to 2 Maccabees chapter 4. 2 Maccabees 4. I'm going to start at Salakia, verse 13. 2 Maccabees 4:13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, an increase of heathenish manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise, after the game of discus called them forth. Right? And, you know, we're dealing with the same things today, man. These people follow these heathenish customs all the way, man. They live and die by it, man. The majority of Jake houses in December will have Christmas trees and Christmas decorations, man. And that's a majority, man. It's not just, you know, one or two. It's the majority. Millions of houses will have Christmas trees in December inside of their house, man. Whether it be real or fake, it doesn't matter. You still have an idol in your house, man. It's still idolatry, man. You're following the ways of the heathen, even though the Lord told us not to, man. Right? You're following their ways so much, and you hate the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. 2 Maccabees 4:15, not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians best of all. Right? You prefer Christmas over Passover. You prefer these pagan holidays over righteous holidays. You'll never give up celebrating your birthday. You'll never give up, you know, celebrating Valentine's Day. You'll never give up New Year's, man. Even though all these link to pagan and, you know, basically self-worship and idolatry, man. And the Lord hates idolatry, man. All right? But you set by your heathens, your captors, your enemies. You love their customs more than anything, man. You are fully broken in the mind and spirit, man. So the Lord has to destroy you to fix you again, man. The word wasn't enough. The word isn't enough for the majority of our people, man. All right? But the word is enough for the elect, because with the word, we were quickened and made alive again, man. Lord, we're not going to do a lesson on that. But 2 Maccabees 4:16, by reason whereof sore calamity came upon them, for they had them to be their enemies and avengers, whose custom they followed so earnestly, and unto whom they desired to be like in all things, right? This is why you see Jake shaving their face. Jake shaved their face only to appease and please Esau, man. That's the main reason Jake will shave their face, man. Jake do all these things to please and appease these heathen nations, man. But won't do anything to please the Lord. Won't do anything, to please the Lord, even though they love God. They all say it. No, the majority of them will say it. Oh, yeah, I love God. Yeah, whatever, man. You can't tell by your actions. Love isn't just a word. Love is an action, man. Love is an action. And unconditional love doesn't exist for anybody, man. The only people that love, the only thing that loves unconditionally are dogs, right? Because even your wife, your children, your parents, there are conditions that have to be set in order for you to give and in order for you to receive their love, man. Right? If you start doing off the wall shit, they're not gonna love you no more, man. They'll say it, but they really won't do it, man. They may not even say it, man. If you're being overly wicked, even a little bit of wickedness is overly wicked. But if you're being a huge demon, right? If you're being a lion in the house, if you're being, rebellious, nobody's gonna really love you, man. If you're dishonest, nobody's gonna love you, man. If you're proudful, Scripture talks about how pride is hateful before God and man. Right? Nobody's gonna love you, man. Conditions have to be met in order for you to receive love. And in order for you to receive the Lord's love, conditions have to be met. Because Scripture talks about how the Lord loveth none but he that dwelleth with wisdom, man. All right? But a lot of people, they don't care about that. Wisdom of Solomon 7:28, for the Most High loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. And it's not wisdom to trust your enemies, man. And this guy, Tomas, the dude I used to work with too, man, she's been catching judgment for the past about 5 years. This dude's been catching straight hell, man. I remember when I first came to the truth, I went to his house. This is late 2019 probably. I first was in the truth. I remember I went to his house and I was wearing fringes on my shirt. I went to his house wearing fringes on my shirt. But the reason I went to his house is because his son perished. And his son perished because he was doing coke and he OD'd, I believe. I think they found him in the bed dead. Right? So that's one. And his son was cool as hell. I used to rock with his son. His son was about my age. Tomas is an older man. Tomas was like 52 when I was working with him. And I was like 25. So Tomas is an older man. So he's damn near 60 now. Still working. That's how you know this is captivity. He's damn near 60 now. When I say still working, I mean still doing physical labor, man. Still working, doing labor. You don't see Esau Edom 60, 70 years old on construction sites in the fields, right? You don't see that, man. If you do see a so-called white man doing that, they're more than likely a Jake. But nonetheless, again, Salaki for rambling, Tomas has been catching hell because he has been overly wicked. Like, he used to tell me stories about how he was a big-time dope dealer in New York, man. And the way he would tell the stories, I believed him. Because you could tell when a nigga just fucking lying and just being flamboyant and extravagant with the stories. But the way he told the stories, I believed him. Because he would break down how much was what, the weight, this and that, how he moved, how he talked on the phones. And this man, again, spoke very little English. But he would still tell me stories like this, man. And then so he would tell me that. He also told me and how where he's from, Simeon, or the land of Dominican Republic, he wasn't from the major cities. He lived on a farm. But on his farm, a lot of Edomites would go to his farm so they could have sex with the animals, man. And he told me sometimes he would pop the horses too. He would tie their legs up and basically pop the horses. And you know, so that in itself is wickedness. So he should have been destroyed because of that, and the horses too, according to the law, right? And he used to do because after work we would basically, you know, Jake on the job site working outside, doing labor. A lot of times Jake gets together after the plant, and you know, they'll knock a few brews back, take some drinks, man. So a lot of times after work we would just get drinks. But the times that we got too drunk, he would do coke to wake himself up so he could drive home. All right. So again, this man was overly wicked, but he was cool. He was peaceable, man. He still had a good spirit. But and he wasn't a demon towards me, and it was actually entertaining to work with him, man. Cause the stories he tell, and since it's broken English, it's kind of funny too. But Salakia, again, I'm rambling. But nonetheless, this man overly wicked, and now judgment is happening, not only to him but to his house, man. So now his son passed about 5 years ago. Now his wife passed about 2 years ago, and you know this man is losing everything he got because he likens the customs of the Grecians and the customs of heathens more than being a Jake, man. Let me go back to 2nd Maccabees chapter 4. 2nd Maccabees, I'm gonna close out with this. 2nd Maccabees 4:17. For it is not a light thing to do wickedly against the laws of the Most High, but the time following shall declare these things. Right? The Lord don't take it lightly when you know, do wicked ass shit, man. Lord don't take it lightly. Again, just because judgment doesn't happen right then and there, doesn't mean you got away with it. But the time following shall declare these things. And what time is that? That time is talking especially about now, man. The days that we're living in now, the Lord's about to show how angry he is with this place. And what's really going to show it? When he completely destroys America from the face of the earth, man. Where no man will ever be able to live here again. And the reason why man won't be able to live here is because there will be no resources. There's going to be no place where you could lay a solid foundation down to build a house. There's going to be no water where you could have plumbing or sewage. You know, it's going to be basically a huge desert on this place, man. Nobody lives in deserts, man. You pass through them, you could travel through them. Nobody lives in desert, man. So no man will be ever able to live in America again, you know. Probably in the kingdom, Lord willing, I'm part of that number, man. I'll take disobedient heathens and just basically throw them in Babylon. Throw them in the center of Babylon, man. They'll perish eventually from starvation. They'll start seeing shit from hallucinating in the middle of the desert. They'll fry to death because of the heat and the sun, man. But nonetheless, Salakia for rambling majority of this lesson. But it's been on my spirit to talk about this because this man was wicked from the whole time I known him. I'm not saying I wish ill upon the man. Lord willing, the man to repent. You know, I still haven't called him. I got to call him. Lord willing, I could do that. But nonetheless, he trusted his enemy. You trust your enemy, and look what that gets you, man. At the end of the day, never trust an enemy. That's really the point of this lesson. I'm going to wrap it up with that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. Again, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles, a great millstone that rule well, and peace and salutations to the elect of Israel. Until next time, I want to say shalom and abad babal.